Yo, yo,
Yo, yo.
yo, yo.
Yo, yo.
Oh. All right, guys. Welcome back to the Team Rocket Podcast, episode 57. My name is Jesse,
And I'm James.
and let's get it.
We're Team Rocket.
We're Team Rocket, yeah. James, hit me with the weather, yo.
It's a pretty shitty day today. We had like a snowstorm last night.
Wet, heavy, gross.
Windy, wet, frozen flurries.
Yeah.
The roads are shit. Currently sitting at like -5. It's still windy. High of -3. Kind of shit. And low of -6. Well, I mean, like, if that's like not taking into account the wind, also.
Yeah, wind chill's probably like
Yeah.
15, -15, I mean.
Yeah, I saw a post about like even like Calgary, like I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, there was like 200 reported crashes.
200?
In Calgary, yeah.
Holy fuck!
So,
How
like,
bad is it out there?
I thought ours was kind of a shitty surprise, but apparently it's
Calgary's
pretty ass out there too.
Jesus Christ.
Drive safe out there, folks.
Drive safe, yo.
Drive safe.
If you don't have to drive, just don't drive, yo.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm just gonna stay home today.
That's why I'm like, if you can avoid it, or like, why put yourself through that? You know.
You don't need to. It's not worth it, yo.
No.
That's what DoorDash is for, yo.
I was curious, like, what's going on in Vancouver, bruh? They're sitting at +3, and it's raining. That's nice.
That is really nice.
I'd take that right now.
I'd be down. I'd be fucking down.
Raining all day, but I mean, hey, would I rather be dealing with rain on my windshield or frozen sleet? Right?
Rain, bro.
I would say that's bullshit. Bullshit.
Bull sleep. Oh god. Well, that's the weather. We're not gonna think about that because I don't want to.
This is literally, I'm like, whenever when I know that we're getting snow, or like I'm driving and I'm sliding, I'm like, what's the purpose of this, bro? What's the purpose
of this, yeah. Speaking of purpose, I like that, James. We're gonna start today's podcast off with like a little a story we've come across recently. It was actually someone I know. So they're telling me what kind of like just like venting. So it was sorry, this song is so they're
The vibes are giving like call to action at the end of like a sermon or inspirational speech.
please give tight.
Give tight and
Give tight and operate. We're in the red. Yeah, shouts to Queen Mike here. You're gonna get that one. You like that one. So they're telling me, it was just like, yeah, so got my life figured out. I did everything I was supposed to do. And now that everything is now, like, it's just like, what do I do now? And they're telling me, they're like, yeah, I don't know, like, I know I'm like overworking, like working 6 days, 7 days a week, like yeah, it sucks, but like I don't really care, because like I get home and I'm just like, I'm alone with these thoughts, and it's just like, what's the point? What do I do? What's my purpose? So today we're gonna be you know what, that would have been funny if we had timed it so that at the end of it the song would be, you give me purpose. But I'm not that great of a planner. But anyways, yeah, we're gonna be talking about purpose today. This is a very
Man.
purpose.
Every day.
Every day, yo.
Every day. Shout outs to Justin Bieber.
Thank you, JB, for Purpose. Good song, good album.
Good album.
Yeah.
I think that was like the era where he first did like those Calvin Klein commercials. After he got all those tattoos, and people were like, "Woohoo!" And I was like, "Whoa, what a cool guy,
What
man!"
a gangster, yo. Oh my god. What a time, yo. Was this before or after he crashed his Ferrari?
I
think it was after.
After.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know why I
Because he
thought-
found purpose. Yeah.
He found fine. There you go.
Come on now.
There you go. It's
It was
Purpose.
is Haley the right purpose? No, that's neither here nor there.
That's another
Team
episode.
Selena, but,
Yo.
yeah.
You want to hear about that? Want to hear our thoughts on that? Comment below. Yo.
Comment below.
Subscribe. Let your friends know to comment too.
Are you Team Haley or Team Selena?
Isn't Selena dating someone now?
Yeah. Benny Blanco,
Yeah, there we go.
a homeboy.
Damn.
Apparently, she's like kind of in some like flack right now.
Yeah.
She was like roasting like her fans or like.
Yeah, I think some people were kind of like reacting, and then she was clapping back. Yo.
Yeah.
I saw like screenshots of her comments. I'm like, ooh,
Damn, like it's like I
Spicy,
can
yo.
get the defensiveness like on her like decision. I don't know enough.
Yeah.
But it's like she's gone like a very different route in like who she's like dating now. Like
Yeah.
in terms of Benny Blanco is like a lot different from like The Weeknd
Yeah.
or like Big Sean, right? Or whatever. I mean, not Big Sean. sorry.
Oh, was it? Who is it?
Yeah, I don't even know that.
I don't
right?
know. See?
She wasn't dating me. That's the point. But yeah, I just think.
Yeah,
hey,
you have to throw that in there. Hey, fuck. Oh my god, James.
I mean, I could have been a purpose, but hey, Benny Blanco's a cool guy, yo.
Selena, if you're seeing this, yo, doesn't work out with Benny, yo. Yeah, he'll give you purpose, yo.
You want another taste of the up north again? Yeah.
He'll give you purpose. Oh god, what were we? I don't know. How do we get here? JB
Purpose,
Selena,
yes.
Purpose, yes.
Eras. yeah.
Eras.
Just want to preface, like, aside from that fan drama with Selena, I am Team Selena over Team Haley, but
Was that thing you always say? It's neither here or
yeah.
there.
Neither here nor there.
Oh fuck.
But yeah, purpose.
Purpose.
It's like the friend you
It's-
were talking to. Did you like after he like shared that? Like where did the conversation go? Because like I'm assuming you guys didn't just like leave it, let that sit, and then like.
Oh,
Not
it was
aggressive.
tough because we got kind of cut off because of where we were, but it kind of ended off as just like it's kind of almost just like food for thought because like he knew that like we weren't in a situation where we could like stop and sit down
Dig
and
into that.
give answers off rip, which I would have loved to do, but it was definitely like bleak. Definitely made me anxious. But because of that, it was definitely something I wanted to think about. And then obviously whenever the word purpose came up, which is like more than I realized after that point. Like literally 2 separate TV shows within a span of that week, I was just like, oh shit, the topic of purpose comes up.
Back to back purpose.
Back to back, yo.
Push and pee, yo.
Yeah. Push. You play that next year? Fuck. Like in The Bear with Richie. And like you saw the impact that had. You didn't watch Loki season 2 yet, so I'm not
Not
even
yet,
gonna get
yeah.
into that.
Hopefully, it don't take as long as you did with the bear, but
I don't think you will, but
yeah. That's neither here nor there.
Neither here nor there, yo. What was I saying? But yeah.
The back-to-back purpose shows.
Yeah, so purpose definitely is like a more prominent thing than I realized. I guess it's just it wasn't what's it called? I guess I'm like with at least with my situation, I'm so caught up with like just trying to get through like the day or like
Yeah. This week, this
week
day,
even.
this
So
month.
it's just like
right?
I wasn't in the same headspace as the person who was talking to me about like you know, oh, what now? Because everything else is all good now. It's like, oh, so what's the point? So I did everything right. It's just like, okay, so what now? Yeah. So that, yeah. So I don't know. So I think, so if we were in that situation, you ticked all the boxes, you have everything you need, and at this point you want, because that's what I think that's
where
how
they're
I see
coming
it.
from.
Yeah, where they're coming from. So now it's just like, oh, what do I chase now? What do I pursue? What's my purpose? I don't know. So how would you navigate that? Like,
Right.
it's like,
Because it's tricky, because it's like he's like on like a societal pressure level. It's like he's met everything that like was expected of him, right?
as per society.
Yes, and like his family or whatever, right? Like culture, whatever pressures that were on him to do whatever he's
all the
done to get
traditional and societal standards. Yeah.
yeah, and I think like it's important to like note that these things, like being able to come into this headspace like more, not that you can't think about like your purpose at any point in your life, but it's a lot, I wouldn't say a lot easier, but it makes it a little less stressful when you know you're secure and you're meeting your basic needs, right?
Yeah.
And like while that's not an excuse for people who are like myself, or like many of us who are probably watching, who are trying to make ends meet, and like just survive past our paychecks, right?
Yeah.
Like people like us, like we are so caught up in trying to make that work and not like keep the lights on, right?
Yeah.
Like we're so busy and caught up with like trying to meet those ends that we don't have the luxury of the time to self-reflect and like
think of like where where we want to be, like where what our purpose is, right? Yeah, no, that's a good point. Point. Keeping us accountable too. I like that.
And like, it's not an excuse for us either. But like, I think one interesting thing, because like I was listening to as Anacona calls him, Daddy Huberman's
that's his girl,
podcast.
Anacona.
Yeah. Daddy Huberman is a neuroscientist who teaches at the Stanford University, and his name's Andrew Huberman. Yeah, but he has a podcast that's been really popular. He's been on like other podcasts that like I'm a fan of, like Andrew Schultz podcast, Flagrant, shout outs. But like he had a episode that like released like this week, and he has like an author who's like slightly controversial, but then like has a lot of like basic principles and thoughts around like purpose, and his name's Robert Greene. But anyways, they talk about like purpose on like different levels. Like but like one thing that I wanted to bring up, why I brought it up, was because like they talk about it from like a childhood sense.
Okay.
Right. So you're, as a kid, you kind of know, not like to a full extent, obviously not, but like to a baseline sense, you know what you like or what you don't like, right? You're starting, as you're growing, you're kind of like becoming more curious as you're playing around, or like creating new relationships or connections in your life. You're figuring out what you do like, what you're interested in terms of like how hobbies, activities, like what you're interested in, and also like even relationship wise, like what you like in friendships, in your relationships with your parents, relatives, friends, right? And like from a young age, like you can identify, like if it's not cultivated, you can kind of like think back to when it was more prominent, of like your different types of intelligences that you could have fed but maybe didn't feed. Like whether it's like you're in words, like you have an intelligence in terms of like words and like creating thoughts and like putting them together on paper, or in like in that medium, right? or like if you have like an abstract intelligence where you're like more keen to picking up on patterns and mathematics, right?
Okay.
And numbers and making them make sense,
Mm.
right? Or if it's like kinetic intelligence where like you have more like hand-eye coordination,
Yeah.
right? You're more gifted in like sports and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Or even social intelligence where it's like more focused where you have like you're a little bit more attuned to
like-
interpersonal relationships,
yeah,
right?
with navigating people.
Yeah, no matter what like kind of relationship it is.
Okay.
And, like,
Interesting.
It was interesting for them to like kind of break down, and like I remembered it like when you're a kid and you're you might not realize it, but being able to tune in and like your environment, the people around you, how much that comes into play with how you're able to cultivate and nurture those different forms of intelligence in your life, right?
Mhm.
Because like you might be growing up, and when you're a toddler, you're like toddler or like a just a preteen, right? You're like going into all these different hobbies, whether it's like you like drawing, you like writing poems, you like playing soccer, football if you're
If you're
European,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Or if you're anywhere else in the world, right?
yeah.
But like you pick up you're given a space where it's okay to have these different hobbies,
Yeah.
right? And like I don't know, it might not be the case for some people.
Mhm.
Like if you grow up in like a healthier environment where you were encouraged to nurture and grow those different things that you find interesting, right? Or that you're
Exactly.
good at, right?
Yeah.
But then like I find that like I definitely related to it a lot growing up, where it's like maybe as you're going into school now, like you're getting into elementary, high school, right? Teachers might tell you like, oh, you're bad at math, you should be focusing on math, not like being distracted with like playing basketball, right?
Yeah.
Or like say someone's like good at like writing, right? It's like, oh, that writing, like what kind of like is rare to be successful as a writer.
Oh yeah. I was like the very like it's like jobs that are like high paying or glorified.
Right.
Like high paying as in like literal money in your pocket.
Yeah.
Like doctors, engineers, which is why like the mathematics, sciences, like that's where it stems from. That's why people are like, oh, you have to focus on this rather than like basketball or writing or art. Fuck.
Yeah.
Right? So
It's just like sad to think that like a lot of us are like discouraged from things that we're good in, and as you're growing up you're taught like, oh, you have to model yourself around this thing, focus less on what you like and more on like what you dislike or aren't good at, right?
yeah, it's like more
to be
of,
more realistic, right?
yeah, it's like more of what you need rather than what you want, right? And it's just like it's sad, man.
It's like, oh, I want to be a professional soccer player when I grow up, right? It's like, oh, yeah, but your teacher might be like, oh, what the chances of you becoming a professional soccer player is like slim to none,
Yeah.
right?
And it's just like, yeah, that's true, but also like have you heard of the chances of you being born? You know what the race, like what the chance, like you have a better chance at winning the lottery than being born. So it's just like, I already won that, so like why can't I shoot for like trying to be a pro soccer player? And also another thing that I heard from another person is just like, yeah, like shoot for the stars, and even if you don't reach the stars, you'll still land on the moon. So it's just like, who knows where they'll take you, right?
Yeah.
Like, so why not?
Yeah,
Be part of the why not club, you guys.
exactly.
Yeah.
And like they in the podcast they brought up like famous examples of that, right? Where people at a young age were given the space to nurture their interests in whatever form of intelligence it was. Like Albert Einstein, they were talking about how like as a kid he was gifted a compass, and like just the idea that like this little device was manipulated by invisible fields
Yeah.
that you invisible forces that you can't see, and that cultivated Albert Einstein. He became, of course, Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
Right?
E equals MC squared, yo.
E equals MC squared.
Whatever the
bro.
fuck that means.
Or like even Steve Jobs. Like apparently there was like a story where he would walk, him and his dad would like walk by like this store, and they had like these different like different advanced like technology, right? Like for the time.
Like
right?
knickknacks or whatever.
Yeah, like glass tubes or whatever.
Techie
like,
things.
Yeah, techie stuff, yo. You know, he knows, yo. Shout outs to Techie, yo.
I'm only starting that if you start Rem reviews. Anyways.
But yeah, like that ended up for Steve Jobs, like him becoming like the founder of Apple.
Yeah.
Crazy. Or even like Tiger Woods, like he saw his dad messing around with golf balls in his garage, and because his dad was like, "Oh, my son is interested in golf. Like, let's see where that goes."
Yeah,
Now he's like
just let
a
him-
fucking multi-champion, right?
Mhm.
World Tour winner, right? So it's like interesting to think that like when we're given the space by our role models or like the people that we're connected to growing up, when we're given the space to grow and to nurture,
To feed that fire.
to feed that fire, right?
Mm.
It's crazy how the limits that we're able to surpass, right? When we're not giving the pressure of like, you know your tita, your ninang, me, we're all nurse. You should be nurse.
Nurse is better.
Nurse is better.
If you work hospital, there's good benefits.
Good benefits.
Yes. Engineer, yeah. It's, how much should they make? How much should that one make?
Yeah. You know your cousin. He's engineer. Look at him. He's successful. Wow. Look, he's not have kids yet, but wow, he's doing everything
You
else.
see how much money they're making? It's good. That
Yeah.
one's good.
Sige, watch. You do that. Your gaming. What are you going to do?
Gaming.
What are you going to do? Hala.
Hala. Bahala sa buhay mo.
Bahala sa buhay mo.
Oh, yeah. That's the one, yeah. That's the one, yeah.
But it's like crazy that just because like you're like just because like it's crazy that like how much our ability or like drive to grow those things that we're interested in, or like even dare to pursue it, right?
Dare to even try.
Yeah, is like so hindered by like it's kind of like sad to think of like how many dreams were crushed just because like it
Someone-
wasn't what was normal or what works, right?
Or just like even just because like someone else can't see it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you already see it. So it's just sad that it's just like shot down like that, right?
yeah.
And yeah,
It's like I think like even as simple as like thinking about like that Joe Coy skit where he's like, before I was nurse, I wanted to be dancer.
yeah.
And my mom said, Giuseppe, you are not dancer. You are nurse. But it's always my dream to be Jabberwocky. Like that kind of jokes. But it's like it hits home.
But that's facts though.
Yeah.
There was way more truth than people realize.
Yeah.
in
It
that
wasn't
one.
like it might come off as like, oh, that's like one in like how many cases, right? But like so many things, so many people's like dreams or aspirations are like just squashed just because like people around
doesn't
us
make sense.
don't see it, right?
Yeah, they don't see
they've
it.
never seen it done before, so it's like, why would it happen? Or it's like if we've seen it done, it's happened like on TV, right? And obviously, like to make it in show business, you have to be like, it's like slim chance, right?
Yeah. Or it's just like people need to see all the steps before they can see it happen. Like fucking like being a doctor, it's fucking people know you have to take this and this class, this many years of school, this much money. So like people, and then at the end of it, there's a secured like, you do all these things, this is the job you get, this is the money you're paid, and it's like it's secure, and like that but it's just like, if you don't want to do that, you don't want to do that, yo. Like I don't know, like as soon as the security's pulled out of it, or as soon as like there are parts that people don't understand or don't just like people just like don't even see, because like someone I associate myself with, I'd like to consider this person my mentor, but I haven't really officially asked them to be my mentor. But it's just like, brain fart, yo. I like looked at my light. And I was like, oh, there's a light bulb missing. English. Yeah, yeah. But it's just like, literally, it's just a matter of like, yeah, there's something you don't know or don't understand, just ask the question, and then how do you solve that? And then like especially now, like we have all the answers at our fingertips, literally. So it's just like the excuse of like, oh, how are you gonna get there, like the soccer player thing. Oh, how are you gonna get there? Oh, you just type it up. Like you can make your own path, you can make your own steps. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sidebarring here. Anyways, but back to you.
No, that's like exactly it. Because it's like, even like moving away from like what's from like the cultural pressures that you have growing up, of like what is more secure, right? Like you're looking for what's more practical, what's more secure, what's more realistic, right? Because like a lot of us, like growing up, or even just like our parents, maybe not to the same extent, back in the Philippines, like, yeah, I'm not trying to compare.
Yeah.
I'm just saying like there is struggle with like my upbringing, and there is struggle which is equally as valid to like one of my parents' upbringings, right? There is struggle in both, and they're both valid.
Yes.
Not to say that it's not like a tug of war, like who's struggled more than who, right? There's struggle regardless, and like thinking outside of like taking yourself out of that mentality of being like, oh, we're in survival mode, which like harken back to like what I was saying earlier, like us like struggling paycheck to paycheck, right?
Yeah.
And like I understand that is a factor that we have to consider in terms of like what we do with our lives, but your job is not like your purpose, right? Sometimes if you had cultivated like your different intelligences, your talents, right, the things that you're passionate about, maybe you're at a point, you're in a position like job wise where you are doing something that was rooted in that childhood like intelligence, right, that passion, that talent, right? And that's great.
Yeah.
Like share your story if that's the case, right? And not always the case. Like for me, like I'm working at some fucking warehouse, right, working with like airplanes and cargo shit, right? Like it's not my purpose, but like it is meeting the needs of that at this point in time, right? Which is important. But like taking away the survival aspect of it, and like moving into like what other factors come into play when you're thinking about what you want to do in your life, right? Like another factor outside of like familial or like cultural pressures is like your friend, your peer pressure, in like a very literal sense, right? It's like what's cool versus not cool. It's like, oh, I like drawing or like writing poems, right? That's not cool.
What the fuck? What is it, 1980? Like,
yeah, what?
Like,
what
are you Shakespeare? Bro?
Like, and it's like that, like knowing what's cool versus not cool is plays such a huge factor.
Oh, for
even
sure.
The fact of like being like I'm too cool, even that is a factor.
Yeah.
And like if you're trying too hard, it's cringe, right? And like I get that, but like to like so many people, like I don't know like if it's the case for like other people or like with you as well, but like definitely for me, creators that I like I see as role models in my head have found this not really necessarily confidence, but like because there's still like a realness, like there's still a struggle to like, it's not false sense of confidence where you just put up a front, but like the creators that I really gravitate towards that are able to embrace the cringe. What's her name? Ashley. Your mom Ashley.
My mom's not Ashley.
Sorry, that's her username. But she did like this speech, and she was talking, and like the main like the premise of it was like it was for a university, and she was like the premise was like in her journey of like doing content creation is like getting over that anxiety, like embracing that anxiety and embracing the cringe that comes in like the field of like influencing like online, right?
Oh yeah, because it's like, putting yourself in front of a camera, it's like, and like kind of almost basically talk like, for some creators you're literally talking to yourself. Then you have to hear yourself and you edit that shit.
Yeah. And I
then,
definitely still struggle with that.
Oh, same, dude. And like that's not even to the point of like you're not even hitting share yet. No one else has seen this yet, and there's already so much anxiety in that.
Yeah.
In that, and then wait till you like fucking put it out, and then you're like, oh, what is this person gonna think? What is that person gonna think? What are they gonna say to me? Are they gonna follow? Are they gonna react? Are they gonna like think of me different? Yeah. So like that, and that's just fucking tip of the iceberg, Like, and like we've been doing this for a year, right? And like we've definitely like felt different sorts of anxiety, like up until this point, right? So that anxiety, man, it's
a whole thing.
That's a whole fucking thing.
Whole thing,
Whole thing. But like it's also like a make it or break it type thing too, though. Hey? But we'll get into that another time.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a whole
Yeah, like I definitely want to have like we were talking about earlier. Like I'd want to like
sit
have
down
like
and
different things that like have worked for me or like I'm working on, and things that like I want to like try and adapt into my life that help with like that anxiety that comes with like pursuing your purpose, right? Or even, that's such a big factor.
Yeah, or even just like what we're anxious about right now, like what we were saying, like hearing yourself on camera, talking to yourself. Like I feel like sometimes you don't even, at least in my situation, sometimes I didn't even validate what I was anxious about. Sometimes I was just like, oh, like maybe I just don't like this part. No, I was actually anxious about it. So it's just like, I think even like allowing yourself to like, oh, this is like validate your feelings in terms of like what you're anxious about or not, like that's also a big step too.
Yeah huge
because like that's like you don't validate yourself, and then that's already like you're already setting yourself back, because you're like almost like not respecting yourself as much as you should, or not giving yourself enough credit for like what you're putting yourself through, right? But we'll get into this another time.
That's neither here nor there.
That's neither here nor there.
It is technically here, but it's still there.
It's I like that.
But yeah, like I think that like the people, like I said, like the creators that like who are successful, that like I admire, are able to embrace that cringe and like get over the fact that like, hey, trying, like sure, some things can be cringe and like whatever, there's like some embarrassment there, right? And like some things subjectively are cringe to me, right? But like having the courage to like take on the cringe, to face the cringe head on and be like, hey, this is something that what I'm putting out there, this voice, this opinion, this activity that I'm doing, this like peek into my life is like something that some people might think is cringe. I might think it's kind of cringe, but like it's something that I enjoy, and it's something that I feel genuinely and authentically happy doing.
That's right? Your fire, yo.
Yeah. And like it's interesting to think that like there's people that I can figuratively look up to and see like, oh, these people are like, sure, it's like, oh, everybody's doing a podcast, everybody's doing a vlog, everybody's putting out like YouTube or TikTok, right? And it's like, sure, like there's a lot of people doing it, but like it's hard to find, like with so many of these voices that are coming in that are like that are given a platform online, right? It's hard to get lost in that and then just like not be courageous enough or self-aware enough to know what you stand for and what you believe in, right? Like what you're like understanding and like loving what you're putting out there, right? And not doing it just because of money. I'm like, sure, money is great. Like,
Oh yeah, love money. You know?
yeah, I would never.
I won't lie about that.
I would never say no about like the pursuit of like money meeting needs, right?
Meaning needs.
But
I
like,
did have a little more.
but like even to like take it back to like what your friend was saying, like the money isn't everything,
No,
right?
absolutely not.
And like think about like even if I think about like some examples of people who have told me like, oh, you should do this with your life, or like you should be at this certain milestone at this
point
age,
of your
right?
life, yeah.
And it's like when I think about like the blueprint that they're following and they had followed, I'm like, what's your purpose? Are you happy? Right? Or are you also just at a later stage but doing the same thing and turning to vices because you were under a certain pressure to follow a certain roadmap, right?
Yeah, and now it doesn't even make sense to you.
Yeah.
You don't know where you're at.
You don't even know where you're at. You don't
Yeah.
even know who's like living at your same house. You don't,
Yeah.
right?
And like to go a little further on that too, it's just like for anyone that doesn't up to this point in the podcast, for anyone else who's like still doesn't understand, like, or still can't grasp the idea of like purpose and why it's so important. It's just like yeah, you know what, go through the checklist of life, like meet all your needs, do what you're supposed to do. And it's just like what's it called, I guess this is more towards like people like living like paycheck to paycheck, like, oh, I don't have time to worry about purpose. That's like, again, in like people who are in survival mode, basically. It's just like, you know what, yeah, you take purpose out of the equation in your life. Okay, work your job, pay your bills, get through the day, make it through the next day. Why then? So there's no purpose, right? You take you say purpose. There's no point to purpose. Like, it's just an extra thing that I don't have time to worry about. It's not important. It's just like it's only some, like, purpose is like, if you think purpose is only something that people who have room to want can, you know, think about, like, yeah, again, work your job, pay your bill, get to the next day. Why? If you have no purpose, why? What are you working towards? You're just gonna do the same thing over and over again, no purpose. Like, you're not working towards anything.
Yeah.
You're not, like, so see, that gets bleak. So it's just like, yes, the situations are different. Some people have more room to think about purpose, but I think everyone should think about purpose.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, if like you literally take it out of the equation, and it's just like even if you only have time to think about it and like aren't able to take action about it, on like what fuels your fire, like, you know, oh, I'm like rambling now. I should have had coffee before this, but I don't know. It was just like, I thought about it when you were talking about the paycheck to paycheck thing. It's just like, yeah, everyone should think about their purpose, because like, yeah, working just to get to the next day, like, if you think purpose isn't important, then why the fuck are you even trying? Why the fuck are you even trying to get to the next day? Right?
Yeah.
So like, I feel like, I don't know. Yeah.
It can get pretty like dark in that sense, because like I heard about this, I didn't know them personally, but then someone who I know knew someone that just retired like 2 years ago, and then they died. I forgot what the cause was. Like, I knew it was like kind of a natural causes, or like a underlying disease, but like they just retired like 2 years ago, and like we make such a big deal about, like, in this like capitalist system, right? We make such a big deal of like, oh, you just grind, you work, you make this money, you make ends meet, you create you have like a family, you should build yourself a life, right? Monetarily, right? And then what? Like, so many people retire. I hear so many stories and examples, or I wouldn't say testimonials, but like I hear so many examples of people who like retire and then they don't know what to do with themselves, right? They've been like working for 30, 40 plus years and they're like, well, what was I supposed why did I do this? I have all this spare time. I'm like, and then they find themselves working casually at that same company that like they may or may not have been like in an ebb and flow of like, oh, I'm comfortable here. Oh fuck, I fucking hate it here, right? It's like they've spent this amount of time, whether it's like jumping from job to job that are similar or staying at one job that is like exactly that, right? And like it's bleak for me to think that like, hey, where I'm at is like, or like somewhere similar to where I'm at is all that I'm gonna be for like the next 30, 40 years.
I can't.
And then like retiring and then like thinking, then what? And then coming back like casually. I'm like, fuck that, yo. I'm like, I think like sure, like not to say that everybody who retires doesn't have like hobbies or like interests or like their own version of their purpose, right? Beyond their job, right? Like sure, you want to just like keep the lights on, stay busy, right?
Yeah.
Like you can collect your pension and also work casually, but most of your time you're seeing people that you love. You're doing something that you're passionate about, whatever it is, right? Yeah. Gardening, golf, right? Whatever the fuck, right?
Yeah.
Or like maybe you're like editing. Maybe you're fucking modding a car to become like a track, right? For track rally, right? I don't know. I don't know. Like I'm not saying that like everybody's like that, but I've heard so many examples of where that's become the case. And like hearing that story of like someone who just retired 2 years ago and then now dying, I'm like, they lived their entire life. I don't know them personally, but I'm like, I can think of like the mold that it fits. Like so many people like live their lives up to that point, like for what, right?
I dare you say live their lives, yo? Did they really live their lives?
Like 2 years into like actually living their lives, right?
Yeah. So it's just like why wait? Why wait till then to think about what you want to do or what your purpose? Well, I don't want to say what you want to do, but what your purpose is.
Yeah.
Because sometimes your purpose will include things that you don't want to do. Again, the anxiety part. Like, but yeah, no, that's tough. Like, because you say you start working from 20 to 65, 45 fucking years of like just getting through the day and not thinking for yourself. Fuck.
Yeah. And like so many people are like, I'm bloating the number when I'm saying so many people, but like I've had people in my life like currently and in past be like, oh, it's good if you start working young, you find a good job young, and then you can build up that pension, right? So when you retire, you're stable, right? It's like there's always like this like understanding like, hey, you do this for like a long time, like in the years that you would ideally want to be like living your life beyond work, right? Like ignore that, put that on the side. Like you get to do that when you're 65, right? And God forbid the age keeps going up and up, right, of retirement.
Yeah, like
right?
Yeah, what if it turns like with the inflation might be 70?
Yeah.
What if you never retire?
Yeah, like what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, huh.
It's fucking sad, bro.
Yeah. That like yeah, so that's fucked up. And again, back to the so instead of like waiting till you retire, if you retire, why not now? Why not try to shoot for the stars? Because at the very least, you can say you tried, and maybe you land somewhere else that you never knew you'd land, like the moon. Like at yeah, I'd rather say like I shot my shot and tried. Like obviously there are things to it where it's like in the moment like giving 100% and blah blah blah. But again, that could be a whole other podcast. But like, yeah, like imagine like you get to 65, you do retire, you look back and you're just like, I have nothing to show for those 65 years, or for the last 45 years.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, I'm too old to have like to try and do this or this or this, right? That like, oh, I like that when I was like in my 20s. Why don't I try that, right? It's like, is there so many time lost, right? It's not to say that you can't.
Yeah.
Like there was this I saw the story a couple weeks ago but there was this lady who wanted to get into coding, and fuck, I forgot what the company was. But then, like, anyway, she wanted to get into coding. When she was getting into it, like the course that I forgot which university it was at, she was getting shit on by like all these younger guys who were like picking up so fast, right? And then she was like, her goal was like to try and create something that made it easier for people her age, like at the retirement age.
Mm-hmm.
Like, also, preface, it's also amazing that this lady had the courage or curiosity to get into coding at like that age, right? Badass. But
Yeah.
anyways, she was getting shit on when she was trying to get into coding, and then this founder or like high level developer recognized, I forgot if she was like working for the company or he was like at the university. I forgot how the connection was made, but he recognized her and like he like boosted her like socially, and like he like funded her and like commended her for
what she was trying to chase.
yeah.
Yeah.
And she ended up developing an app that made it easier for elderly people to
get
interact with technology, with Wi-Fi, with the
Oh,
internet.
shit.
Yeah,
Damn. Because
because you know how you get those calls like, did you check? Are you on Google? I was like, I looked up Google. It was like, oh yeah, ma'am, you're running through Google. I was like, what's your Gmail? I was like, oh, I don't remember. What's your
I
Gmail?
just checked the mail.
What's the mail? The mail, right? But it's like crazy that she was able to like come to that achievement, right?
Yeah.
At the retirement age,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's cool. And like even like when I think back to like my days, my time in university, as short as it was, whatever. But like there was this one lady there, like I took this philosophy class, and she was in there. Like she was like literally like she could have been in a nursing home, but she was like walking and stuff. I was like, dang, props to you.
Props to you.
And like I remember like we were like doing like these like group discussions,
Yeah.
and like we were like doing like a little bit of introductions, right? Because we didn't all know each other. And she was like sharing her story, and like on the side, like while we were like brainstorming about like the discussion topic, right, to present to the class as our little group, right, for that class, I was like asking her like what she's doing here, and then she was like talking about how like she retired like 3 years ago, and like she wanted to keep her mind active, and she wanted to like try her hand at things and topics that she didn't necessarily had the chance or opportunity to when she was younger, right? And it's like it's crazy that like it came to this point. Like imagine like not to say that I don't know where she is now, God bless her soul, but it's not to say that it's never too late.
No,
right?
never.
But then like it's imagine how much greater it would have been if at a younger age she like cultivated that interest, that passion, that fire, right?
Yeah.
For like things like philosophy, right? Instead of just focusing on the job or like getting caught up in all of the different milestones that you have to be hitting at certain ages, right?
Yeah.
To consider yourself successful, right? Or like having made it, right?
Yeah. By like society's checklist.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And again, like we understand like having to make ends meet.
Yeah.
Like us, like we're not, fucking like super big ass creators that get paid by YouTube yet. But like we understand that there's like fucking like you have to work your day job. Yeah, you have to make ends meet. Yeah, you have to think of like how to get through the month, right? But like where you can give this quote's from Captain America, but I think actually I forgot what the quote was. It's like where
What's the idea?
it's like where you can compromise where you can, but where you can't, don't. So like
Dun, 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 dun. Avengers, assemble! Yeah!
oh man,
What a movie!
oh.
But yeah, no,
But-
I get what you're.
and it's just like there is time there is time to at the very least like to like think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, like give yourself that, like fucking, because you know, maybe you think about it and then you realize something that you didn't realize before.
Yeah.
Then like, you know, all like the biggest forest fires start as like, you know, some dumbass like leaving their like not putting a match up properly.
Yeah.
So like you never know, that food for thought could set the world on fire.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I like that. That was good. But yeah, so like, I only said that just so we don't seem delusional.
Yeah.
But for me saying that is like the years of people telling me to be realistic, like etched into my head.
Yeah.
But you know, shoot for the stars, yo.
Yeah.
At the very least, you said you shot for the stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah. Oh, why are you even starting a podcast? You know, everybody's doing podcasts.
Yeah,
now.
like it's so saturated.
Yeah,
like everyone's
so,
doing
the
it.
market's so saturated. Like
Yeah,
what,
yeah, it is.
what makes you unique, right? And it's like, I believe that
Yeah.
like our voices and like our experience, not to stroke my own ego, but it's like I
Yeah.
feel like our experiences, even like in the more like quote unquote mundane parts of our episode where we're just vibing or like laughing, right?
Yeah.
Or like talking shit, right?
Mhm.
Like outside of that, even if we're like talking about more topics that are like a little bit more deeper than just laughing, right? Like I just hope, I believe that like somebody out there has something, we have something to offer in terms of like an experience, like just like getting through a day, getting through a week, an hour, right? Or even like just the idea like hey, maybe they have like a similar thought process or idea that's been lingering in their mind and they don't have anybody to talk to about it, right? Like if they hear us talk about it, it's like, dang, at least there's like a reverberating board.
Yeah.
That's like, oh dang, I feel hurt to a certain extent in a parasocial sense, right?
Yeah.
But like
and like in some sense like validated.
yeah, validated, right?
Yeah.
And like because for me, like creators that like I gravitate towards, like I'm able to like resonate with on a level that's just beyond like laughs, giggles, or like, oh wow, they're talented, right? And like that's what I feel like that's what makes the difference. And like each of us like individually, unless we're like there's like unless we're just following, right? It's not like we're like copying an exact template or like topics or word for word verbatim like everything set up as like certain podcasts, right? And like I think that's what like differentiates us from not that we're elite or anything, but like, I feel like that's what like we are rocket scientists, but but I feel like that's what like in the podcast that Andrew, the one that I was talking about with Andrew Huberman, like one thing that they talk about is like what differentiates people from being followers and influencers in a sense is like you being able to like having the right role models, listening to that voice within yourself, that your passions, your likes, your dislikes, your boundaries, right? What feels good, your intuition, right? And being differentiating and having the self-awareness and differentiating between just following a template of like someone does like that you follow, right? Becoming a follower and like self-parenting yourself, knowing like, oh, I respect certain aspects about this person, but I'm not trying to copy verbatim like who they are as a person, right?
Yeah.
Like I can take and leave what is valuable within my own mind and what I stand for, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what differentiates like every person from being like a part, like between you being a part of an echo chamber of being a yes and
Yeah.
versus you being your own voice to platform, be like, oh, I am different, I am unique, and I have value in and of myself and my experiences, right?
Yeah.
If that makes sense, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
English?
It does. I just have to track a little bit, but you guys,
Are you tracking?
You're tracking.
I had to figure out if I was tracking midway through that little rant. So.
That's okay, yeah. That's okay. Oh man. Fuck.
Yeah, I think that like I like, in terms of like the anxiety thing and the pressures thing, that like obviously we can talk about it. We'll talk about it in a future episode.
Yeah.
But like that's definitely one thing that like I have been trying to give myself a little bit more credit for, in terms of like being hard on myself in terms of like the podcast, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm like the idea that like we even have like the courage to face the cringe and like put our thoughts out on the line, right? For people for the public, for the internet to look at and be like, oh, that's ass, or like, oh, that's fire, right? Like for us to have like that courage to get over that anxiety, or like
Yeah.
that own self-awareness / delusion, right, is something not to bat an eye at or ignore, right? Like
Yeah.
even like taking this first step is like huge compared to
for
like
sure.
so many people who just talk shit on the internet and then not even have the balls themselves to like try and like put themselves out there, right?
Yeah. Like
Resonate with me on like this kind of level, right? So like I can be so hard on myself.
for sure. Yeah. And like that's not even going to like that's before like the rest of the world chimes in, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, give credit to where it's due, yo.
Yeah. Thank you
yourself.
for you guys as well. Give yourselves credit
Give yourselves credit, yo.
for listening to us. No, but give yourselves credit too for
Give us credit and
Yeah.
hit the like and
Yeah.
subscribe, yo. But
if you give yourself credit, hit the like below, yo.
yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I just think it's so it's like a topic that like sure like a lot of us like think like what is my purpose, right? And like what does that look like? Some of us just think like, oh, my purpose is to work this one job and that's it, right? And like for like thinking back to like so many examples of people in our lives who follow that classic traditional whatever life roadmap, right? And they have family or people in their lives that can be your purpose as well.
Oh,
right?
100%.
I'm not saying that that's not valid, right?
Yeah, like you don't like your purpose doesn't have to be lighting the world on fire.
Right.
Like I said earlier.
Yeah.
Like I literally know someone who has structured their life in a sense to where family was their purpose. And it's just like they've turned down like monetary offers and other jobs because it was like compared to the place they're in right now, it would take away from their family.
Yeah.
So it's just like, and I was just like, fucking respect. Fuck, especially because like everything's money driven, dude. It's just like, and no, they held fast to like, this is like family is my core. Is this taking away or adding to my family? It's taking away. Sorry, I don't care what you say. Like if it's taking away from like my family, then not it. And fucking respect. You know your purpose. Like all credit to where it's due, yo. Fucking give yourself a like. But yeah, no. But like at the very least, define your purpose, whatever that is. You don't have to light the world on fire, but like at the very least, like fucking find out what your fire is. So yeah.
It's like, God forbid, like say you find like say you're following this roadmap, right? That's been set out for you by society, right?
The societal
And like
life roadmap. Yeah.
you create you have your own family, you have people in your life that you can care for, right? And have these fulfilling experiences with, right? And like not to say that like that's wrong at all. Of course, we've established that, but like if you, I just don't want myself, like I'm speaking for myself, and like maybe some of you guys can agree, but like I just don't want to look back and be like, oh, I never tried this. I wish I had given that a shot. I wish I had like seen where this could have gone, right? And like it's those kinds of like voices, those thoughts that like are your own self, subconsciously or consciously, like telling yourself like, hey, this isn't all that you were meant to do.
There's more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard this quote while I was taking a shit earlier. I literally saved the link. Hold on. This is perfect. I fucking... Oh! Damn it. How do I... Bro, it was literally a link earlier. Oh, there we go. Open in Facebook.
Sorry, it's like the little voices. The idea is losing your internal radar as you grow up. Yeah, that's what the idea was. The point that they made in the podcast. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. And then as a result, losing part or entirely your core identity. Damn. Right.
Holy shit.
That's why it's so common for a lot of us to feel lost in our age right now, or younger or older, right?
Damn.
Because you didn't give yourself that, you weren't given the opportunity to cultivate those things, those interests, right?
Yeah. Yeah, when you're a kid, like, you know what you like and don't like, man.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. Damn. And yeah, you don't care about, like, little mundane things the same way you do when you're older, right?
Yeah.
So, damn. Find your inner child, yo.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, here's what I was watching earlier.
My daughter came up to me when she was like 5 years old and says, Daddy, why do you travel so much? I said, sweetheart, this is how I take care of the family. This is how I provide for you. This is how I take care of Mom. This is how I put a roof over the head. This is how I put food on the table. She goes, Daddy, if I eat less, will you stay home more? If this was a fairy tale, I'd have unpacked my bag, I'd have grabbed her hand, we'd have went out for ice cream. I kept packing. And then many years later, I sat down my daughter and I said, hey, I want to talk to you. And I wanted to discuss with her why Dad is the way he is. And before I could even start, she goes, Dad, I understand. I could see what you provided for Mom and I. I could see the sacrifices you made for us. She goes, you taught me how to make the toughest decisions in life. She goes, not only taught me, you showed me. So sometimes when you think you're making the wrong decision, or you have to making the toughest decision because you're thinking about somebody else and the consequences, if you think the price of winning is too high, wait till you get the bill from regret. And that bill from regret is generational. My daughter came up.
So that whole thing is, there's like lots of different parts to that, but the quote was the last part. It's just like, yeah, if you think the price of winning is too high, wait till you get the bill of regret.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, dude. Especially like, and if we're just talking in the fact of like your work life, and then when you retire, 45 years of fucking regret.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to think of that, dude.
I don't want to be there.
Yeah.
I have enough where I'm at right now. TBH.
Facts. Yeah, man. Find your purpose. And obviously there's a lot of stuff, but anything specific you want us to elaborate on, that's what the comments are for. So
Or DM us.
Or DM us, yeah. I tag us both in all of the social media, so it shouldn't be that hard to find. If you can't find us, then probably, I don't know, use that app that that creator used to help you with online stuff, because you probably would need help if it's that hard for you. But anyway, it's not to rip on anyone that's technologically wow, this is really awkward, but thank you for listening today. We had a great chat.
Yeah.
Here's to purpose, yo.
Cheers to purpose.
Here's
yo.
to purpose, yo.
And that's it until we splash off to
Till
the
we-
next episode, yo.
Till we blast off, yo. Imagine if that was open. Shit.
This goes all over me, the mic, and the mirror.
Mirror. Fuck. Peace, yo.
Peace, yo.